Hello everyone, it's Lady Night. Today I want to do a VR to a video that I saw on Heather Carter's channel, and I think she did it as a VR as well, but I'm going to link her video below so you can see that. And the tag is 25 deep questions to ask. And in order to prevent myself from cheating, when I saw her video I paused before she answered any of the questions. I wrote down the questions and my answers, and then I watched her video. So here are my 25 questions and answers. Okay. Are you living a meaningful life? Yes, I think so. I have nothing to complain about. Well, that's not quite true. There are some things I want to complain about, but overall I have a nice place to live. I have the job of my dreams. For the most part, wonderful colleagues. That's the complaining part. There are some, but that's a different story. And I've got 2 cats. And they're, for the most part, well behaved. But yeah, I get to do what I want. I have the opportunity to do the hobbies that I want to do, whether that's arts and crafts, or I can live my spiritual life in whichever way I see fit, so I think that's a meaningful life. Number 2, what is one thing you can't live without? And I wrote oxygen with a smiley face, and later I saw that that was Heather's answer too. But yeah, I mean, something that I cannot live without, definitely oxygen. But I think the question is more meant as in, what do I not want to live without? What do I don't want to live without? And something in our modern world that I do not want to live without is the internet. YouTube, the internet in general, because I remember for most of my school time, almost up until graduation, like my junior and senior year, that's when the internet kind of started. And up until then, if I wanted to do homework, if I wanted to do some research, if there was something I was interested in, I had to go to the library and check out books, you know, whether that was the in-school library or the city library, which was just around the corner from where I lived. Yeah, so having all the world's information at my fingertips, so basically my own private library at home, I don't want to give that up. And also the opportunity to make YouTube videos, and to watch other people's videos, and to learn from one another, connect with people. So the internet is really one of the best things that we have in this modern world, and I don't want to live without it anymore. Plus shopping, Amazon, tarot decks, all that. Number 3, when is it acceptable, if ever, to disobey the law? When you live in socialism. I was born into a socialist country, socialist, communist, and I don't ever want to go back to that system. And the only way that we, the people, were able to overcome this was through a revolution. Peaceful revolution. Thankfully the government didn't fire any shots. But in that case, if the people hadn't done that, we wouldn't have the united Germany that we have right now, and we would still have 2 different Germanys, and I wouldn't be able to make this video now, because I don't think we would have internet in East Germany, in a socialist country, because then we would be able to see what's beyond the wall, and that was never the intention of the government, to let us see that. I mean, we literally had these books like for geography class where you have like all the maps of the world, and we had I know this from people who have been to school, like in the 60s and 70s. They had books with maps where there was only East Germany, and then there was West Germany, and all the other countries like France and England and stuff, they were white. There was nothing. Like, it didn't even exist. So, yeah. Disobeying in socialism to get rid of it? Definitely. Number 4. What do you want your final words to be? I regret nothing. That is something that I try to live by, that with everything I do in life, at the end of the day, I want to be able to look into the mirror and say, yep, I can live with all the choices that I made. Whether they were good or bad and whether they had consequences, but if it's a lesson learned, then so be it. But I don't ever want to be at a point where I regret something and then realize, okay, it's too late to take it back or to do something about it. Number 5, what inspires you most? And for me, that would be creativity, artistic creation. So whether that's music and paintings, dancing, opera, theater, movies, TV shows, any kind of artistic outlet that triggers some thoughts or some emotions that get the ball rolling for me to start doing something, either creatively or that have some sort of impact on me. So, yeah. Number 6, what do you think are the 5 most beautiful things in the world and why? And I wrote down nature itself, love, humor, colors, and art. So nature itself, I mean, the entire planet is something really beautiful. I mean, all the things that we have, all the different species and the plants and just all of that. Like, yeah. And then love, of course, is a very beautiful thing. Humor is so important. We can never lose our sense of humor. That will be a very sad world. Colors. Colors make everything so much more interesting and brighter. I mean, look at all the colors in nature that we can find, or in our tarot decks. And art, in a broad sense, I mean everything from painting to music to architecture, all these things that were created, even right down to the pyramids and the Chinese wall, that to me falls under the category of art as well. Art can be functional. Number 7, what makes you feel most empowered? And for me, that is finishing a project and having done a good job. When I do that, like I talked about in my August-September recap, the movie that I made for the opera, that was a project that gave me a sense of empowerment, because I was, in that moment, I was part of a bigger team and I contributed to something, and everyone had their role to play and we all made something happen, and being part of that and finishing a project, and that was something really empowering. Number 8, what's more important, what you say or how you say it? For me, it's how you say it. Because you can pretty much tell me anything, but in a respectful way. People don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. But it's always the way in which we say it. Do we say it in a very disrespectful way, or can we have a civil conversation about something? So for me, it's how you say it. Number 9, do you believe in heaven and hell? No. I believe in some sort of afterlife. I want to believe in reincarnation. I don't know if it's true, but I choose to believe in it. But heaven and hell for me is a concept that was like created by the church to keep people in line. Because the church is, for me, an instrument that's reigning with fear or through fear. And that's how you get people to do what you want. You make them afraid. And to have them constantly think about hell, like, oh my god, if I do something wrong, I'm going to end up in hell. Yeah, that's how you keep people in line. And so I do not believe in something like that. Number 10. Do you live to work or work to live? I'd say both. Because I have to work in order to pay the bills and therefore be able to live. But since I love my job, I, at this point, couldn't imagine being without my job and just not working, because I need something to do, and I want to work. I want to. Otherwise I would probably procrastinate a lot, and so for me, having work keeping me busy is a good thing. Number 11. Do you trust anyone with your life? Yes, my family. I trust my fiancé with my life. I trust my mom that if it ever came to the situation where I was on life support, that they would respect my wish to turn the machines off, because I don't want to live like that. That's not living to me. And so even in that sense, I would trust them with my life and with the decision of possibly even letting go of it. Number 12. Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert? I'm an introvert. Even when I'm making videos, because I'm all alone right here and there's only the camera. If I don't like it, I can just do it again. So that doesn't make me an extrovert. Yeah, I think YouTube is the perfect platform for introverts because we can practice our way of, kind of public speaking. And we can just do it again if we don't like it, unless it's a live stream. And even then, we don't have to upload it, we could just delete it. So, yeah. I think for an introvert, this is the perfect outlet. 13. Do you believe in true love? Yes, but for me, I would say I believe in honest love. True love, well, it's not love at first sight. That I don't believe in. But true love is something that can grow. I also don't believe in unconditional love, because even in a relationship, whether it's with family members or in a love relationship, there are conditions. Because I'm not going to stay with someone who treats me in a really bad way, like beating me up or stealing from me or things like that. Or selling my cats. I don't know. No, seriously, I would not let someone treat me in any way they want to treat me. There are conditions, and therefore unconditional love, for me, personally, doesn't exist. There may be other people who think, okay, I'm going to endure whatever comes, but that's not me. So I like to believe in honest love. True love in a sense of like honesty, like really loving someone for who they are, knowing who they are, accepting them with everything they have or don't have, with all their flaws. And yeah, that for me would be true love. Number 14. Do you think the world will change in 10, 50, 100 years? Yes. Because if we look at the last 100 years alone, I mean here in Europe, for example, with the Industrial Revolution, even with the 2 world wars that we had, things have changed so much in the medical field, in engineering, in technologies, all the things that we have right now, the kind of cars we drive, airplanes, sending someone to outer space, all these things have been accomplished within the past 100 years. And so thinking ahead, yes, in 10 years the world will change, probably politically. And in 50 years the world will have changed economically, probably. And in 100 years, technologically, definitely. 15. If you had the opinion... No. Okay. If you had the option of knowing date and circumstance of your death, would you? No, that would be way too scary for me. I don't want to know that, even though it seems like a fascinating concept of, knowing how much time you have left, but I don't think anyone would be able to handle it. And you would constantly think about it. I mean, if it was, if someone told you, okay, you're going to die at 90 years old and you're only 20, then okay, you have a lot of years ahead of you and something to look forward. But if the answer is, well, you're going to die next week, what is that going to do to you? So I'd rather not know. Number 16. What is something that you are certain you'll never experience? One thing I will never experience is flying a plane as the pilot. Because getting a pilot license is something really expensive, and yeah, it's not like driver's education where you can just go and get a driver's license. So flying a plane as the pilot is probably something I will never experience, but I would love to do that. Number 17. What impression do you give when you first meet someone? Friendly, I hope. Well, I have... Okay, one of the friends that I have, one of my very dear friends, when we first met, I was not in a very friendly place mentally. And so when he walked in to the office, he was also wearing a ton of aftershave, and I'm very smell sensitive. So that was too much for me, and of course I was kind of like, ugh. And so when he saw my face, he thought, oh my god, working with her, yeah, that's not gonna be good. And now we're like the closest of colleagues. We hang out in our free time, we work together, we tell each other our secrets, and it was a process, sure, but yeah. So maybe I don't always look very friendly, but that may not even have something to do with the people that I meet. Maybe I'm just not in the right headspace, or I was angry about something else, or I smell something that I don't want to smell. And that has nothing to do with the person across from me and if they're nice or not. So, yeah. My face may not always be, or my facial expressions may not always be the best indicator. So, also as a Cancer, since I'm very shy, I don't usually make the first move in getting to know people. So, I can only hope that people see me as friendly. Number 18. How would your perfect partner treat you? Respectfully, like my man does. And yeah, respectfully, that's the only answer I can give. Everything else is just icing on the cake. 19. Which responsibility do you wish you didn't have? Paying the bills. You know, having to go to work in order to pay the bills. I wish I could just work because I want to and not because I have to. So this whole being an adult and being responsible and all of that is like, I don't like it very much. And yeah, doing my taxes. Number 20. What is something you are embarrassed by because you're so good at it? The answer to that is nothing. Because if I was this good at something, I'd be proud and not embarrassed. Number 21. How do you recharge? For me, it's watching TV shows or watching YouTube. Preferably something that has nothing to do with the real world. And by that I mean things in my everyday life, real world. So I watch fantasy or something like supernatural or psych. So something that is either in another country, far away from my everyday life here, or like Sam Dean hunting all kinds of demons and whatnot, and partnering up with angels, like really, like the real deal, like they do in the show. Something that I don't do in my everyday life. So, yeah. I recharge by enjoying something that I don't have in my real life, as in other TV shows, for example. Number 22. What's one thing you want to achieve before you die? I would like to buy a house and live with my family in a house. My own place with my own backyard, and possibly even having all of our parents there, so like a big generation thing. That would be nice. 23. What is something that offends you? Ignorance. 24. What part of your culture are you most or least proud of? Most proud I am of, and by my culture, that would be Germany in general, even though Germany has changed a lot over the past 200, 300 years, but in all of those. So, art, architecture, literature, music of the past, something like Goethe, Schiller, oh my god, which of the composers were from Germany? Wagner. So a lot of the classical music composers and writers, and like, yeah, old architecture. There's some really beautiful buildings of like that have been created within the past 100 to 200 years. Yeah, so that's something that I'm proud of. And the least proud is the inability to learn from the past. Especially here in this region where I live, because I still live in what was formerly known as East Germany. And with everything that we have experienced 30 years ago, because it was almost exactly 30 years ago that the peaceful revolution took place, and with everything that's going on politically, we don't seem to have learned our lesson, because it's the same shit, different day. So, yeah. The inability to learn from the past. And everything will repeat every 100 years or so. We will never achieve world peace. And this doesn't mean not just being negative, but this is true. We will never learn from our mistakes, and therefore we will never achieve world peace. As sad as it sounds, it's true. So, last question, 25. What makes you angry about your country? The political situation. and people's ignorance about it. Yeah, so that was the, what was it, 25 deep questions to ask VR. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing other people's answers. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!